Hey everyone, welcome to the fifth podcast for Mind Makers. Today we're going to talk about some interesting topics. We had great feedback from you on the podcast that we did for Delhi elections. We were trying to go and provide a different perspective than what all has been said till now. Today with me is Sunanda Vashisht. Hey
Hi,
Sunanda.
Adit.
Unfortunately, Pramod could not make it to the podcast today. He's been under the weather, but he'll be back next week to talk about.
Are you sure he's under the weather and it's not the win or in India that won over?
Maybe he was yelling too
Maybe he was
loudly.
yelling too much and he's just telling us he's under the weather.
Yes.
I'm glad today was Sunday and people don't have to report to work. Otherwise, a lot of people would have said they're under the weather.
Well, if you remember, in 2011 World Cup, India-Pakistan played the semi-final, and it was a Wednesday, I think, if I'm not mistaken. And so many people were
Called in
mysteriously
sick.
sick. Yes, and even some high schools, and kids did not show up to school and stuff. And people were like, what's going on? And people were like, well, it's India-Pakistan.
Well, once in 4 years, we can forgive them.
But
But Pramod is seriously sick. We know
Yeah.
that.
No, but I'll tell you something. Just talking about the World Cup, I have never seen so much coverage on American channels, American websites, as I have for this World Cup. ESPN
Really?
regular features
Yeah.
highlights.
Although I'm told that in India the coverage seems or the buzz seems muted. I'm not sure.
Well,
People
the
were
buzz
saying-
also could be because we had a pretty bad tour of Australia where we did not win
I
anything.
suppose that's why people had no
And-
expectations.
Right, but now I think it's kicked up, and especially like this probably was one of the most watched games. And I mean, I've seen so many
Or
people.
probably post Sachin generation watching and they're getting old.
I don't know. I mean, I could classify myself as a post-Sachin generation. I grew up watching him, and this is the first World Cup pretty much that we are watching. I mean, I was born in
Yeah.
'89, so this is the first World Cup I'm watching.
I believe someone he even
After
tweeted
Sachin.
that I did nothing but people are celebrating in front of my house.
Yeah,
or
Sachin,
something.
yes.
Sachin. I guess people, it's hard to imagine World Cup without
He's
Sachin.
reached Amitabh Bachchan-esque standards in cricket, like how on Sunday evening people gather outside Amitabh Bachchan's
Amitabh Bachchan's
house.
house.
But this is quite interesting. Today also ESPN US is doing a special episode at 7 p.m. on Sachin Tendulkar.
That's
and the Master
interesting.
Blaster. So,
Is that ESPN World?
yeah, no, ESPN
In
America
United,
for the United
that
States.
must be a first for them to
I've
cover a
never
cricketer.
seen-
I don't think
yeah.
they've covered any cricketer.
Right.
Yeah.
So also, I mean, the buzz of cricket is you slowly but surely cricket is progressing in US. US has not embraced cricket yet.
They
Let's
still
face
think cricket is an insect.
it. No, not yet. But they just look at it. A lot of people look at it with disdain. But there are a lot of Americans also who have been to say Australia or like Trinidad or
Or England.
England. They follow cricket. I mean, they will not necessarily like follow it from every tour, but whenever there's World Cup or something, they're
Somebody said the other day it's kind of like baseball, and I was like, dude, you're so wrong. You are so wrong.
That is the biggest insult that you could give to cricket.
know.
It's not like kind of.
I mean, I felt insulted. I'm someone who never watches cricket or understands cricket, so even I was insulted. I was like, that's pretty insulting.
Right, and I mean, they're saying the Washington Post. Someone had an article saying that the India-Pakistan game might have been watched by 1 billion people. That
Wow.
is on TVs, and
That's phenomenal.
That is 10 times the audience of Super Bowl.
Super Bowl. That's
put it into
phenomenal.
perspective. So,
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's the World Cup buzz. We'll probably feature a couple of columns on cricket and the World Cup as well on Mind Makers, and we might have some cool discussions on it going forward as well. But today's episode, in part one, we're going to talk about the attack on Suresh Bhai Patel.
The unfortunate attack on
right.
Suresh Bhai Patel.
In Alabama. You all must have been, if you're active on social media, on Facebook or Twitter, you definitely saw the campaigns being launched to contribute money towards his well-being, and basically reports of what action the city has taken, the police has taken, and so forth. But we'll talk about that in detail. Just go over what's the impact like, how it has been perceived in the Indian American community here, and so forth. What do you think, Sunanda?
About the attack, there is no doubt in my mind that it was a racist attack. There is no question about that. And it should not have happened, clearly. I mean, we did see the video. The video is pretty incriminating. I mean, here's a man who's in his late 50s, and he's walking there, and he's such a frail, tiny man. For anybody to think that he's a threat is a joke. So clearly, Alabama police did not function very well, but they did work on, I think there was a 911 call from one of the neighbors who said that, this gentleman is walking up and down, and she said that she was feeling threatened. Apparently the husband wasn't home and she was alone with the family, and she was feeling threatened. Be as it may, the police has to do their own inquiry, and they should have done. But so much of force on a frail man who, the video was very sad to look at. I mean, it was
the experience of cops, like of various people, it's not been that everyone has a bad experience. When you live in Houston, people have had some great experiences,
very good experience with the cops as well.
Proactive. I've had, whenever you talk to them, they're always ready to help and stuff. So this was, I don't know if it was a one-off incident. I mean,
I think it was a one-off incident,
right.
And the reason Indian media took it up in such a big way because it came with such close heels of Obama calling us intolerant and sort of name calling
really
after
call
that.
Us intolerant.
He said that he sort of said that Mahatma Gandhi would be ashamed or something, and there were a lot of people that Martin Luther King Jr. would have been ashamed. But the fact is, the truth is somewhere in between. Few incidents here and there. In India does not make India an intolerant nation. Similarly, few incidents here and there in America do not make America a racist country. I have been living here for a long time, and there are pockets of racism. There is prejudice, there is racism. It happens in every society. But do we paint American society as a racist society? No, we don't. So similarly, I think that's what the thing was.
Personally, I've been in Houston for 8 years almost, and my experience has been great. The city has welcomed me with open arms.
And I have lived in multiple states of the United States. And
it's been, I've never faced anything. People have treated me equally, but this could have happened. I cannot use this to deny what happened in Alabama, and I cannot use that to extrapolate saying everybody's treating racially. You see, and the problem is that media covers it so much in black and white. I mean, it's not.
I said it probably would not have been covered this way had that Shreveport Auditorium address of Barack Obama not happened, and that national breakfast thing.
No one
mentioned in that, but I knew where it was coming from.
Absolutely,
and that's why they were like, it was their moment to say, "Physician, heal thyself."
Yeah,
that it was that moment,
which is
them,
fine. But they should have questioned this point, saying that this is what happened and stuff. But I'll tell you, the reaction also has been from the Indian government and parts of the media has been quite responsible as well.
And there is actually a response from the state. I think Nisha Biswal, responded, and she said they have taken note of this. And a lot of us, I think you were telling me a little while ago that funds have been set up.
Funds have been set up. A lot of Indian Americans are donating.
And money. The cop has been dismissed.
I don't know if he has been already, or is there an inquiry?
I think the cop has been dismissed, and an inquiry will be taking place.
But what was heartening is so many Americans, like I would say almost everyone I know, has unequivocally condemned the attack, and so many have contributed to funds to get him well. So it's not been just the NRI community contributing. A lot of
Americans have also, especially because I think there has been huge outpouring of public anger about this, and they have helped the family as well.
Right.
And the family has sued, I believe, the state of Alabama now.
I think so, yeah. So, but the support coming from the Assistant Secretary of State, Nisha Biswal, the American media also, like the local Alabama media, the American
I think Indian government handled it responsibly. It was the media that got a little out of hand, as I said.
Certain sections of the media, actually. It's not, outrage central, basically.
Yeah.
So but regardless, I mean, it was a sad incident. It did leave a sour taste in the mouth.
Yeah.
But what is a little heartening is the approach of everyone, and people are saying that he's expected to make a full recovery
Yes,
after.
that's what I read in the newspaper reports, that he is expected to make a full recovery, which I'm very thankful and grateful about.
Yeah, we pray for his full recovery, and
Yeah.
may God give strength to their
The family
right
to
now.
them.
And I mean, just let's hope nothing like this happens in the future, and the community stays united. Like
Yeah.
not just Indian community, American community.
I think it also came as a surprise because it's the first time something like this has happened in the Indian community. Indian community is not at the receiving end usually, of such incidents. But as I said, this was one offhand, and it was a tragic incident. But we are glad that steps have been taken to redress it.
So, one thing what I was looking at, Sunanda, I was interestingly looking at some news debates and stuff. One thing I noticed is there wasn't a whole lot of news going on. All the talks were about obviously the World Cup and about the Aam Aadmi Party's win in the Delhi election.
Disproportionate amount of coverage about Aam Aadmi Party's win, but we knew that was going to happen. This is
Right.
Delhi, and we know studios are there.
Right.
And
Well, one of the things they were jumping up and down about it was the averages of the cabinet was really low and unprecedented and all. And I mean, the mandate was unprecedented, 67 out of 70.
no one can deny that.
But the average age of the AGP cabinet in 1986, when it came in Assam, and it was a students' movement that just came, was equally around 30 to 33.
Their coming to power was equally dramatic, if not more. They're coming to dramatic. Another thing that people were quite unhappy about, and I wasn't personally because I don't have much expectation from Aam Aadmi Party, but was lack of female representation in their cabinet. I think
Same
6
here.
women won on Aam Aadmi Party ticket. Not one of them found place in the cabinet. There should have been at least one, but that was not to be. But then they are doing strange things. They have also, essentially, Manish Sisodia is the chief minister of Delhi right now, because Kejriwal is a chief minister without portfolio, and I think that's the first time something like that has happened in Delhi. And I think he is keeping himself free to expand. I don't believe that
Then why should he be the chief minister? He should just formally have Manish Sisodia as
So
the chief
they
minister.
have done the first U-turn already. Remember 5 Saal Kejriwal? This is not 5 Saal Kejriwal. This is 5 Saal Manish Sisodia.
Manish Sisodia.
So
But
the
that
first
doesn't
U-turn-
rhyme now.
I
That's
know,
why they didn't do
I
it.
know. The first U-turn has already happened.
No, but I mean, obviously, we have to give them time.
Yeah, we have to give. We cannot. That's one reason why I haven't taken it up in a big way, because they need time. After all, they just.
But the reason what we were talking about the coverage was that one of the coverage was, they always, whenever BJP loses an election, they lose it, as Sunanda, you were saying, lose it because of Hindutva, and when they win it because of Hindutva.
They need to, our commentariat needs to make up its mind. Does BJP win elections because of Hindutva, or does it lose elections because of Hindutva? 8 months ago, apparently BJP won a big landslide because of Hindutva.
This is the thing. Some commentariats say it did not win without Hindutva. If you read the Manishankar Ayyar and that brigade, they only won because of Hindutva. So I mean,
you never know what it is.
Right.
But one thing is for sure, and this happens in the so-called right movements across the world. The religious right and the economic right has to move together. You cannot have one at the cost of other.
I would put a caveat. It's not really religious right. I think you mean to say cultural right.
Cultural right, let's put that's a better term.
Yeah.
Cultural right, and economic right, they have to move together, and I don't think they are necessarily at loggerheads with each other. I do not. But this is the favorite. I have noticed this, that even in the right side of the spectrum, when people don't have people who are churning columns one a week, and they have nothing to write about, they end up writing about BJP and Hindutva. And well, it's because of Hindutva they lost, and then a week later they'll say that it was because of the Hindu mobilization they won. Hindutva is a flogging horse.
No, and
But I will tell you this.
what is the definition of Hindutva?
Hindutva.
They say Hindutva, but they I have never seen, they should say that, okay, these are the specific facets of Hindutva because of which we believe BJP lost.
Yeah.
But I have never seen that specificity. This generic paintbrush that comes
What
out.
they will say is that a lot of loony elements do come in. So there will be MP who said, well, Hindu women should have 5 children or whatever.
So do you agree or
I do
disagree
not,
with that? As a Hindu woman, Sunanda.
As a Hindu woman, I do not agree with that, and most 100% Hindu women do not agree.
I
with
think
that.
Sunanda choked on her chai when
I know,
she
when
read
he
that
said that.
statement. Nor do any Hindu males agree with that statement.
Nor do any Hindu males agree. But the fact is, I also do not believe that Delhi elections or any elections are lost because of those loony elements. I do not think so. I do not believe that. And I haven't seen anything to...
No, so and this is a ridiculous thing. So do you mean to say that Assam was won because of Hindutva? BJP swept the bypolls in Assam. I think they even won some bypolls in Arunachal Pradesh.
So was it because their women accepted to have 5 children? I mean, this is crazy. This is really crazy. I do not believe. I think most people do understand where loony elements come from, and so there are people who are getting you married on Valentine's Day. BJP has nothing to do with it, and so now you're coming and telling me that because BJP did not rein them in, that is why BJP lost elections in Delhi. I do not believe that is the truth. Incompetence does not have many names. Incompetence has only one name, and that is incompetence. So let's not call it Hindutva, loony elements, and all this stuff. And there's another thing which I feel very strongly, Adit. BJP will never win elections without Hindutva. What is Hindutva? Uniform Civil Code. Article 370, which is an article of faith for them. I do not think, or Ram Mandir, I do not think BJP has ever said that they are not true to those articles of faith, and I do not believe that.
It's not also just that. I mean, it's the way they govern. Supreme Court calls it a way of life and stuff. So it's. And if you are saying BJP retained its core vote base, so does that mean that it retained the base which supported Hindutva, or it retained the base which supported development? Because the core vote base supports both of them. So and I think someone I read this on Twitter that Hindutva means almost upliftment of all classes and stuff, and this means de facto development.
And now, a very interesting thing was: are we trying to say that those who are supporting Hindutva, which is essentially 3 things for me: UCC, Ram Mandir, and
I would still say it's a lot broader than those.
Not
3
broader,
things.
but basically
you're talking
those
about the
3
core
things,
issues.
the core issues of this thing. Are we trying to say that they don't gel with development? That is, are we trying to say if we are committed to building Ram Mandir constitutionally and whatever the constitution says, then we're not committed to, then those people, that group of people, they are not committed to development, or people who are committed to a uniform civil code are not committed to development? It doesn't work that way.
Right.
It's a joke, honestly. Right. And every time BJP loses elections, as I keep saying, it is because of lack of strategy, and it is because of incompetence.
No, and we can't deny that, okay, there might be 1 or 2 seats.
I don't think it's ideological. I do not think it's ideological. The loss this time was not because of ideology, or any time is not because of ideology.
Right. There could be many reasons.
Reasons.
And you see, they're saying the opposition gangs up because of ideology, but the same opposition was there are parties which are supporting the BJP, and there are parties now, not supporting the BJP. I don't know what has dramatically changed except for the power equations.
Ram Mandir, what is the stand of most parties? Most parties say that we will go with the court verdict. But isn't that the BJP's stand as well? So how is it different?
Because the BJP says it and they don't. The other parties don't.
Because that is the stand that most parties have taken, that we will go the issues with the court and we will go with the court verdict. So then everybody goes with that court verdict. So where does that become a Hindutva or a Hindu issue, so to speak?
The only thing that BJP, and this is the good thing that they do, that when they're asked questions about Ram Mandir, they only talk about that and they don't start with the idea of of India and then bring it. I mean,
bring
I
it
don't know,
as thing.
2000 years there. But, and
As far as mobilization of certain constituency is concerned, that is true for everyone. I read Digvijay Singh's article in Times of India this morning that he had given to Sagar Ghosh. He very clearly said that we have lost Dalit and Muslim constituency in Delhi. So is that not mobilization of that constituency? So if BJP is mobilizing a constituency that they feel they are popular with, that is pure electoral math. I do not think there is anything wrong with that. So to say that it is a ideological issue, I don't believe it at all.
yeah, I don't know what they're trying to conflate it with. Are they trying to masquerade that, okay, they lost because of ideology, and trying to, basically cause a divide between the
I think right-wing thinkers cause the most confusion on this.
Are they themselves confused?
They are themselves confused, to be honest.
Whether to support
Hindutva or not. So when BJP wins, they support Hindutva.
Hindutva.
When BJP loses,
So
they don't
I think
support
what you're
Hindutva.
trying to say is the left of center people actually play on this confusion amongst the right wing
amongst
thinkers.
the right wing, because I have seen this anytime BJP loses and wins, you cannot win without a cadre.
And I'm sure Sunanda has a lot of names which are reserved for the off-the-record conversations. I don't think she's in the mood of naming and shaming anyone right now. I don't know about shaming, but still.
naming. There is no shame, but naming.
Yes.
Yeah. So, but the listeners know who I'm talking about. So it does get to the point where it becomes a little ridiculous. As I said, the reason for defeat can only be two: incompetence and lack of strategy.
Lack of strategy, absolutely. And I mean, there are some issues here and there, some statements made here and there by people which can be, inflammatory or something that might cause XYZ party. It couldn't be just the BJP. There could be many parties, to lose that seats or something like that.
Right.
But to just have a blanket, take it with a paintbrush.
Electoral math doesn't say that the elections were lost because of Sakshi Ji Maharaj's statement. I don't see it. The electoral math doesn't say that. Or electoral math doesn't say that the elections were lost because of Sadhvi Niranjan Jyoti's statement. I don't believe
Although
that.
those statements weren't the most spectacular statements.
It was their own statement.
They were their own statements, and I did not agree with either of them.
Yeah. Neither did I agree with those statements, and I don't think anybody did. Who would agree with those kind of loony statements? But there will always be, as I said, do we expect all loony elements to go away one day? That is not going to happen. Such people will be there, but they do not cause any party.
And also, I think what is being tried to do is they're trying to show that they have such impact and such resonance that people actually decide whether to vote or not vote for a particular chief ministerial candidate based on what a irrelevant person said.
That,
so I find
I will also say something, and I'll quickly put this in there. I know we are running short of time. I'll quickly put in this together, that I do hope at some point, now that BJP is in power and this thing, I do hope that they hold these seminars or they educate people about what their vision of Hindutva is. There is a lot of confusion. There is a lot of young people who are confused about what is cultural, right? What is civilizational history? What are we talking about? So, to somebody from BJP, a Ram Mandir is not an issue at all. Because a lot of people would think that why would Muslims oppose
No, but this is the thing. It could not be someone from the government or something. There are a lot of learned scholars who've written about this and who have phenomenal understanding and whose views resonate with the youth today as well.
Right.
You could hold not just a seminar. Basically, just explain
awareness and that has to come about.
And I'm not saying this in the way like commentators want the prime minister to comment on every damn thing. This has to be well thought out thing. And okay, what do we stand for? Or something like that.
But the so-called philosophers on the right, they also need to come across and talk to the youth, because I think a lot of youth are confused about this thing.
So I think last week, or our midweek podcast in Delhi elections, what we said, communication. That is the key.
That is the key.
And communication cannot be just a one-sided, one-way, track saying that, okay, this is a press release, XYZ. I think it needs to be an interaction.
I have seen in the corridors of, a lot of colleges and Delhi University and everywhere, that people who say, "Oh my gosh, you support Hindutva party?" And I'm like, "What is Hindutva?" And none of them understand what Hindutva is. It's about Hindu Rashtra. It is BJP wants to, or RSS wants to have a Hindu Rashtra. What do they mean by Hindu Rashtra? No one knows. So it is just, it's a very, a lot of lofty ideas, a lot of nuanced ideas have just been lost because no one is there to explain them. So, BJP can take a little bit of trouble on its own and, start explaining things if they want to get the younger
those questions
first-time voters.
Were they posed by the students of the esteemed Jawaharlal Nehru University?
Lot of,
I'm just curious because
no, I mean there are people who have agendas, but there are honestly first-time voters who are really confused.
No, I am not blaming the students there.
Yeah.
I mean, JNU kids, they are they're welcome to have their positions, but and I don't agree with a lot of positions that are said, but. They're extremely
I'll
left
give you
of
a
center.
small example. A lot of young people, I think that Babri Masjid or Ram Janam Bhoomi movement began on December 6, 1992. What could be a biggest lie than that? So a lot of people are so confused. They think that it all started on December 6, 1992. So those are the things that need to be addressed.
Well, not just the Ram Janmabhoomi thing, the whole, debate about what they stand for, what is their vision, what they want to do. But I mean, that's a long debate. That's going to take a lot of time. And I think we missed having Pramod on this one. He would have loved
this.
But we promise we'll come up with a detailed discussion on this.
But I do want to tell tell my listeners, BJP did not lose because of Hindutva.
And I agree. I mean, it doesn't lose.
It never loses because of Hindutva.
Well, not if it wins because of Hindutva.
Not because it wins. It can either win or lose.
Yeah, it can't do both. And especially when you say that the core voters have stayed with the BJP, I don't know.
You cannot say both. You cannot say core voters.
Well, an argument is being said that
unless the core change.
No. They're saying that there is an additional voter that BJP goes above and beyond. They deserted it. They deserted it because of Hindutva. Nah. That's some commentators are trying to say that.
And in 2014 general election, they came to BJP because of Hindutva.
Who knows? I mean,
See, there's a lot of grey elements.
I tell you, yeah, absolutely. There's a lot of grey elements, and I mean, it's like whenever BJP wins, the one part is ignored. When BJP loses, another part is ignored. So there has to be
some kind of consensus on that. Yeah, and BJP or some of the scholars on the right can take a lead in this.
And also before we sign off, I'm hoping the media coverage kind of tempers down in Delhi and they allow the Aam Aadmi Party government to work and see, and basically show what they've promised, what they've said. Are they actually delivering on the ground or not?
The media has invested a lot in Aam Aadmi Party, so I don't think the...
By invested, are you saying more ways than one?
So there is a lot of investment going on. When
you didn't answer. Is it more ways than one or is it just...
anyone, my lips are sealed, but when you invest in someone, don't you pay special attention to it?
No, but then again, my investment is specific. That's why I'm asking. When you make an invest statement,
when you invest in something, you keep a special eye on it, and that's what is going to happen.
See, but this is the thing, when you talk with Sunanda, there's a lot of puns, some intended, some unintended. So we'll leave this in the realms of ambiguity. So with that, we're signing off for today. We'll be back with the next podcast next week. We wanted to, and we have a series of interesting articles this time. Our second part to the nuclear deal article that V.K. Thakur wrote. Then we have a cultural piece on Indian history.
Indian history, yes.
And we also have a piece on technology and science and technology this time. Plus, next week we hope also to talk about the economy and
with the budget and everything.
With the budget and everything
that is going to take the front seat.
Yeah, and we'll also try to get a series of articles on the economic issues and the challenges and so forth.
And thank you so much for liking our previous podcast. That has been our most viewed podcast.
Right,
so thank you so much, guys.
Once again, you can follow us on Twitter at MYINDMAKERS. Myndmakers. You can like our Facebook page, which is Mindmakers, Myindmakers. You can follow me on Twitter at ASK0704. You can follow Sunanda on Twitter at SUNANDAVASHISHT, and you can follow Pramod on Twitter at PBURAVALLI. With that, we're signing off. Keep listening in, and we would love your comments, feedback, and your thoughts on our podcast. Hope you all have a great day.
Thank
Bye.
you.